Hello and welcome to today's session. I hope you're all doing amazingly well from whichever part of the world you're watching. Today, I'm going to talk about what I love talking about, and that is wellness business tips. So, this session is very useful to an owner of a boutique hotel or those wellness leaders who are entering into a new boutique hotel project. The subject today is about why your wellness vision needs the right team. Here is what I see happen very often with boutique hotel owners. When you start new on your project, let's say you start at point A, where you were at point A, the knowledge you had, the vision you had, the experience you had within hospitality and wellness was far less than, let's say, where you are today at point M or N, where you have learned far more, you have a clearer vision of what you want, and you're perhaps trying to change a few things around when it comes to the design of your facility. Now, that is only normal. And given the fact that wellness in general doesn't tend to represent more than 8% of total hotel revenue, and I'm talking about direct revenues from wellness, it kind of makes sense that when your boutique hotel project is evolving and you're adding spaces and concepts that actually make sense, and that you didn't know about because when you started in point A, you didn't have the knowledge that you do today in point M or N. And it's only normal when you get to this stage and you can't really get more external funding that you actually look at what funding you have available. And the next step you do is proceed to remove or rather reallocate budgets from those areas that perhaps won't give that much revenue to reallocate them to areas that on paper seem to be the areas that will give you more revenue. And the classic example is taking revenue out from your wellness facility and adding it to the rooms or food and beverage, because clearly they are more important revenue earners. And on the surface, that kind of makes sense, right? But here is what I have learned. I've worked on over 40 wellness projects across 5 continents. And here's what I've learned. The most expensive mistakes aren't the ones you make. They're the ones you don't even know you are making. And today I'm going to show you why having the right team of specialists isn't just another cost. It's what separates a thriving wellness asset from a costly liability. Now, I'm going to share my 3 secrets on why having that right team of specialists is fundamental for your wellness concept. Now, here is something I hear all the time. Sonal, my project is small and I really don't need all these specialists, or I already have a clear vision. I can handle this internally. Or these professional fees are too high. These are for the big guys. I'll just start small. And if you're a wellness leader, I already have experience in wellness. I've done it successfully, and we do not need all these people. But this is what I see happen very often, and I get them. And these are all valid arguments. And if you're thinking any of these things right now, you're not alone. Trust me, even I have done that in the past. But here's the truth that most people don't want to hear. And that is that the size of your property doesn't reduce the complexity of getting wellness right. So I'll say that again. The size of your property doesn't reduce the complexity of getting wellness right. In fact, when you are working with limited spaces and resources, having the right expertise becomes even more critical. Even if a property is small, it comes with big challenges when it comes to getting wellness right. So think of it this way. Would you build a house without an architect, electrician, or plumber? Just because it's small doesn't mean you don't need expertise. In wellness, the complexity doesn't shrink with the size of the project, it increases. And when these kind of wellness spaces and resources are limited, every square meter has to work harder. And that's why having the right expertise becomes even more critical. And as I mentioned with your house, um, you would never think of building your house without the right people. The same applies to wellness. Each of these specialists is going to bring years of experience to their specific area. They know the pitfalls, they know the shortcuts, they know what doesn't work. And they also know what innovations are out there that do work. Now, let me share something, that's personal to me, that this is something I have seen, early on in my career when I worked with just several boutique hotel owners, and I saw each and every one of them try to cut corners. And that's not because they didn't believe in wellness. It is that the way things were. The project developed, and this happens to the best of us. Projects develop, budgets gets constrained, and then you have to kill the darlings along the way. That is just part and parcel of building any kind of project. And it happens to be that the darling that gets killed in a boutique hotel property tends to be wellness. And when I watched all of these properties make the same mistakes over and over, it got frustrating. I saw wellness facilities that looked beautiful but didn't function efficiently. So you had spaces that did not have back of house areas or staff areas that were at the other end. You had wellness facilities that didn't align with the target audience. You'd be creating really long rituals for a predominantly urban market. Investments in equipment that sat unused. So I'm seeing several forms of very fancy gym equipment that no one ever stood on, and spaces that required expensive retrofitting within a months of operation. And it wasn't that these properties were bad or that the teams were incompetent. And we're talking about smart people who had to make that difficult call of trying to save money. But what they ended up doing is that they were actually losing money, and lots of it, through very preventable mistakes. And this is why I have learned the hard way, seeing those poor clients make those mistakes. And I thought, no, I want to change it. I want to be able to offer them something that helps them prevent these costly mistakes. And in some cases, that result in millions. And that is why I created my Asset Builder one-on-one program, because I realized that success in wellness isn't about having the biggest budget. It's about having the right expertise at the right time. So I want to now share my experience with, why you need the right team, why your wellness vision needs the right team, and my kind of three secrets. The first secret is hidden costs. And this is something many people really don't talk about when it comes to wellness development, is that the most expensive mistakes are the ones you can't see coming. Now, I'm going to give a real life example with some twists within it. But so just to give you that kind of message out there, I had this beautiful boutique hotel property that when I saw the overall distribution of where they had the rooms, the lobby, the food and beverage area, the conference areas, and where they wanted to put wellness, I thought at this point, what they need is a health and well-being architect that can help them confirm that where they have thought to initially allocate the wellness area, whether it's the best area to put wellness. And the health and well-being architect's dollar bill was 30,000. And when they saw that bill, they spoke with the local architect, and the local architect told them that we've designed several hotels with several spa and wellness facilities. We really do not need a health and well-being architect. And the end result was that where they had placed their wellness area meant that the treatment rooms were near a very noisy back of house docking area that severely damaged the guest experience. On top of that, the treatment areas also are very close to conference spaces that were used for weddings. We also had internally within the hydrothermal area beautiful flooring, but flooring that caused our guests to slip. And we had one or two very unfortunate incidents happen in the spa with the ambulance coming in. Luckily, no serious injuries. Now, they ended up spending around 100 grand just to save that 30 grand. So further down the road, 2 to 3 years down the road, they had to pay 100 grand to put sound insulation on the treatment rooms, to fix the flooring they had, and to retrofit certain back of house facilities that were needed. Now, yes, the wellness consultant can advise on the operational aspect, but when it came to the different energy flows, that is where the health and well-being architect was needed. So just to save that 30 grand, they ended up incurring a cost of 100K. Now, I've kind of butchered up that example, but the idea is to show you that sometimes we try to save something that in the end we spend far more to correct it. And here's what most people don't realize about wellness development. Poor facility design can increase operational costs by up to 40%. If you put your wellness area, for example, in the wrong area of your property, it means that you need to hire more staff or get more buggies on site, for example. You also get incorrect equipment. And getting the wrong equipment or the wrong material for your wellness facility can lead to 30% higher maintenance costs. And when you design a wellness facility that does not quite fit with the business model of the hotel, you can reduce revenue potential by 50%. Now, these just aren't numbers. They're the difference between profit and loss. So that's my first secret, hidden costs. Always think about what you're trying to save and what it could potentially cost you to just save those $30,000 in this example. My second secret is what I call, you could call it the specialist ecosystem. And it's about understanding why each specialist is critical. Now, it's not about having more people or having specialists just for the sake of it. It's about having the right expertise at the right time. For example, maybe your project needs 3 specialists. So you need the wellness consultant, the health and well-being architect, and the feasibility specialist. So your wellness consultant brings industry knowledge and strategy. They know what works and what doesn't, and that helps avoid costly trial and error. Your health and well-being architect works with the land's natural energy. It designs for enhancing overall well-being, and it helps prevent make expensive mistakes in building a wellness facility that does not match a hotel's overall wellness vision. And last, your feasibility specialist. This person validates your numbers. It identifies potential risks in the market. And when you have a solid feasibility study, that's what helps you secure funding. Now, that's just the beginning. Maybe your project requires those three specialists. The point I'm trying to make here is that each specialist plays a critical role in different project phases. So if you're in the blueprint, so to speak, when you're still trying to understand, okay, what exactly is my boutique hotel property going to look like? How many rooms do I need? What are the rooms categories? How many food and beverage outlets am I going to need? What kind of wellness facilities am I going to have? Where am I going to be zoning all of these different areas? To the point when you're breaking ground and you're building it and you're looking at fine tuning and ensuring that all the MEP specifications are being covered. To the pre-opening countdown when you're getting the right people on board to post-opening. All of these phases that can span over years requires different specialists at different times. So the secret here, when you're talking about your specialist ecosystem, is getting the right specialists with the right expertise at the right time. And my last kind of secret when it comes to why your wellness vision needs the right people is what I call the success formula. And with this, I'm going to illustrate a recent one of this, with one of my clients, changing a bit the name. So let's assume that my client is called Barry, and he's an owner of a boutique hotel in Ghana. And he has a small property, but a big vision, creating this wellness retreat for the African diaspora. But the modest size of the hotel means that he knows that it's critical to get that specialist knowledge early on, because he realized that without the right people, because one person cannot master all this information, even for such a small project, he has pulled together a very solid team of professionals to create one of the best wellness retreats in the whole of Western Africa. Apart from myself, he has a hospitality consultant working with him, advising on him on how he can actually make this project commercially sustainable. What is going to be required? We also got in a specialist in feasibility studies specifically for Africa. On top of that, we got a health and well-being architect, because this precious land also needs to be developed in integrity with the land's health and well-being. And if we're going to design any wellness offering, it has to sync with the land. We've also gotten on board a regenerative tourism specialist that helps us see, are we building whatever we are building here in a way that's going to respect the First Nation people? And lastly, we're now getting a brand specialist done. We've not even broken ground, but that brand specialist is also coming on board to help create that pitch deck to secure the funding needed. Now, bear in mind, we have not even broken ground. And this is the level of expertise that has been required for a small project. So it's important to understand that small projects actually come with their own set of challenges. In fact, the smaller the projects, the less the margin for error, and the more important it is to get the right experts at the right time. Because this is what ultimately determines the success of your wellness project. So here is why you need. So today the idea was to talk about why you need the right team, why your wellness vision needs this team of specialists. Because the end result, just going back to my client, is that he has assembled the right team at the right time. He's also created a clear roadmap for development, and he's validated the numbers and is now securing funding. So the end result for him of putting the right people on his wellness vision is a clear, actionable vision, a realistic understanding of costs, and he has the confidence to move forward. And here's the key. Barry's project, as I mentioned, isn't massive. It's a boutique property. But he has understood that getting it right the first time would cost far less than fixing mistakes later down the road. Now, what I wanted to do today is just to give this snapshot of, I know how it is when you're building your boutique hotel property. It's challenging. You're also learning the ropes on a very complex business with rooms, food and beverage, and then we're going to put wellness into that mix, and it gets more complicated. But here is the truth. Wellness is too important and too complex to leave to chance. The right team isn't just an investment. It's the key to creating something that works for your guests, your brand, and your bottom line. That is what is so key about getting the right people at the right time. And on that wonderful note, I wish you all a beautiful day ahead. Take care now.